Marius has political ambitions and a past tragedy he is trying to overcome. But his affair with his wife's sister Candice threatens his chance of a new life.
Why did you do it, Candice? The reporter, why did you tell him?
He wants Candice dead. His wife Nina not only knows of the affair, she orchestrated it. But it seems the affair has got out of hand. She wants Marius dead. Thursday the 12th, a day when someone in the Bannister family will die.
Okay, well, you want to look after that?
I'm here at the house of Marius Bannister, son of ex-Cabinet Minister Lord Edgar Bannister. Mr. Bannister and his wife are hosting a large charity dinner here, but a few minutes ago the police were called to the house when a body was discovered. A police source has confirmed that the deceased died in suspicious circumstances and a murder inquiry is now underway. As for the identity of the victim, the police will only confirm that it is definitely a member of the Bannister family. Which member, at the moment, remains a mystery.
The 6 hopeful new Labour candidates competing to stand in the Erlingham by-election expected to learn their fate yesterday when the local constituency party were due to vote by secret ballot on the NEC shortlist. But at the 11th hour, the ballot was mysteriously postponed. One of the candidates, an Erlingham dentist, Marius Bannister, son of Lord Bannister, was considered by pundits to be the person most favoured by Downing Street. However, this morning, newspaper reports reveal he is facing a charge of gross professional misconduct that may seriously damage his chances of selection.
Exactly why I'm calling you now, Mr. Bannister. For the facts. 5 minutes, I'm out of your hair. How hard is that?
Good morning. This is Mrs. Hopper, Mr. Bannister's dental nurse. I'm so sorry, but we have to cancel Mr. Andrews' crown replacement today. We have a space on Monday if he'd like to call and reschedule. Thank you so much. Mrs. Ogden, this is Mrs. Hopper from the dental practice. I'm so sorry we have to cancel your procedure today. Could we possibly reschedule? What weather?
That order come in for the Mardegelin?
And Mr. Andrews, the Procera Crown replacement, I'm shifting him to Monday.
Which leaves us with what?
A tooth whitening. I'll call. Cancel that, too. There's so much going on today, I assume.
You have a habit of assuming too much, Candice. If and when patients are to be rescheduled, I'll be the one to authorize it.
Maris, I want you to know what you said. I've taken it on, all of it. You were right. I let things get out of hand, but I've got it together now. I'm on top of it. I hit some turbulence, you know, with the divorce.
In God's name, Candice, don't put us through this again. All right, not today, of all days.
I'm turning down the heat like you wanted. From now on, this new house rules. It's strictly physical. We put a fence around the rest of it, draw a line under it.
Don't you get it? This is the line. Right here, right now. Dear God, what does it take? Don't I have enough to deal with without this?
What did you say in your speech to the selection committee? The measure of a man's character is how he follows through.
You're the expert on that.
I've been patient, you have to give me that. Nearly 20 years. People get medals for less.
You're wearing them, my dear.
Hark at that wind. The croquet lawn is quite swamped. Like the end of the world. Okay, Harris, you win. You're off the hook.
Guilt-edged this time?
Or just a ghost in our memory. It was unfinished business which did for us, wasn't it? Sucked us into it all again. One more. For luck. For closure, as Oprah says. One more. Where's the heart?
The last time, Candice. Let me hear you say it.
The last time. May I be struck down. Oh, my love.
No, Candice. I meant it. The last time was the last time.
Constituency secretary, please.
I'm sorry, he's in a meeting.
Can you give him a message?
Yes, of course.
Tell him it's about Marius Bannister and the misconduct allegation. Tell him if the selection committee want to know what really happened, they need to speak to a Mrs. Candice Hopper.
Hooper?
Not Hooper. Hopper. 2 P's, 1 O.
Tell him. Listen to you. Tell him. Tell him. Cease.
God, this bloody country. Look at my shoes. Brand new water stains all over them. Did you tune in for today's thrilling installment? I heard all I needed to. Oops. Morning.
Granddad, where are you going?
Next time, put it somewhere a bit less conspicuous. If I can spot it, so can he.
Looking for these?
Listening at keyholes. I thought better of you than that.
What are you gonna do? Telling me?
I haven't up till now, have I? The thing of your dipping into the practice drugs cabinet when the feeling takes you. Who do you think's been covering for you, Martin? The Tooth Fairy? Your father would have been onto it months ago if I hadn't cooked the books for you. You'd be back sniffing solvent under that viaduct. I used to walk the dog out that way. When I had a dog. You go for a prenuptial agreement when your time comes, Martin. I mean, when the mortgage is paid, all the debts, the bills. You'll be lucky to come out of this divorce with a set of cutlery. We better open the, You ever think we're in the same boat, you and I? We're both cuckoos in the nest, aren't we? Marius and I, it isn't just a sudden thing with us, Martin. We were engaged once. Did they ever...
They told me. Mum said that's why we had to make allowances for you.
Which version did she tell you? The official one? That they only got together after Marius and I broke it off? Or the true one? That she was seeing him for weeks behind my back, for months?
So this is payback time.
Do you have an ashtray, or... I didn't start this, Martin. What's happening with Marius and I? It was Nina who set it up. You know how she's been since Daisy. I mean, when was the last time she touched you? Held you? Affection just isn't on the menu, is it? Your father has needs too.
Why? Why would she do that?
I don't know. I don't know how our mind works anymore. Maybe it's some kind of power game for her. Marius would never believe her capable of such a thing, of course. Who would? She's Pollyanna, I'm the Wicked Witch. The role of the black sheep. They cast us in it. We act it out.
I don't get it.
When I talked to the regional secretary last night, he said he'd sounded out the committee and most were on side.
Maybe they didn't expect it to have this impact.
Oh, Millbank's got to them.
What I don't get is why they want Nina to be there.
To be sure she's a team player.
She's more than proved that.
In spades, I'd say.
Not least at all their tedious cheese and wine dues.
Yeah. OK. The word is the ballot will go ahead tonight.
Right. That gives us a chance to get our ducks in a row and make a preemptive strike. David, get onto the Press Association. Tell them we're going to make a press statement this afternoon. A significant press statement. Hello? Speaking. Is that really necessary? I'll ask her, of course. As you like. Yes, we'll be there. Bye. They want Candice at the interview, too.
Me?
Are they taking the piss?
This is getting bizarre. First Nina, now your sister-in-law. They'll be hauling your father in next.
Any theories, Candice?
You don't suppose your divorce has something to do with it?
Of course, they're rattled, aren't they? They're scouting for skeletons in the family cupboard. Forewarned is forearmed.
Mrs. Hopper, your husband's asking for you.
He's here?
And this one, over 200. This one, the same. Jesus Christ. We've still cupboards stuffed with your clothes at the house. Why do you need more?
I've lost weight, haven't I? Stress, I imagine.
These are the last ones, Candice. From now on, you pick up the tab. You pay your own way.
Can't live on what I earn. How can I?
Yeah, well, it's not my problem, is it? Not anymore. Oh, they're complete on the house next week. I assume you'll want your sunbed sent on to you.
I use the one at the health club now. Not bad, is it?
Have you even begun to look for a flat yet?
As you say, it's not your problem.
Sooner or later, Nina's going to want her spare room back, Candice. Not to mention her husband. He made his choice 20 years ago. He chose her. You still can't deal with it, can you? I mean, it's not enough that our marriage was wrecked because of it. You have to come here and trample all over your sisters, too.
Diverting though this is, I have...
Any child you have has to be his, doesn't it? To make up for the one you lost when he dumped you for Nina.
I didn't misplace it. I miscarried.
Oh, worse things happen to people, Candice. It did, out there, in that pool. We were there, we saw it.
Yes, it was tragic, it was. But she won't let go of it, will she? She won't let it rest. Like she's the queen in a tragedy of her own making. She's played it so long she doesn't know anything else.
Well, and what about you? And your secret tragedy, the baby you lost, his baby. Haven't you been doing the same thing?
If it was the attention I wanted, I wouldn't have kept it a secret, would I?
I knew from the start it would be a firefighting operation. You and your demons. I thought if someone was on your side, we might just beat them. Talk about a lost cause.
How's the dog?
Oh, a poor substitute for a child, but we muddle along. Talking of lost causes, Marius will never leave her, Candice. Why take fool's gold when you can have the real thing?
Big smile as we go, okay? Just off on a family outing. In August 1995, I had a patient, Mrs. Naomi Garrett. She went to the police claiming, after sedating her for treatment, that I made improper sexual advances to her, that I fondled her breasts. She's now taking her complaint to the General Dental Council, who will undoubtedly do as the police did at the time and chuck it out at first base.
Which rather begs the question why you didn't tell us about it before. Why leave it to some tabloid hack to spring it on us?
Because her allegations are tissue of lies. I've not given it nor her a thought from that day to this.
She's just another neurotic housewife with too much time on her hands.
You were called to make a witness statement to the police, were you not, Mrs. Hopper, when Mrs. Garrett first took her complaint to them?
And I told them I was present whenever she had treatment. Nothing whatsoever happened.
Look, she was seeing a psychiatrist for depression at the time. Manic depression, I think it was. Wild accusations, they were part of it, part of her pathology.
Does that mean she made more than one accusation against you?
Pick a name.
Against her GP, her chiropractor. I was fairly low on a list of priorities. She was cautioned for wasting police time. That was an end to it. So I thought. It certainly wasn't my intention to sneak anything in under the radar.
We can assume, can we, there's nothing else you've neglected to confide in us?
One thing, perhaps. Martin, our son. My wife and I were told that we couldn't have children of our own. We decided to adopt. Martin was a month old when he came to us. 5 years later, we had our own child, Daisy. One of those small miracles that occasionally come one's way. And on July 12th, 1995, just after her 5th birthday, she died in an accident. That was a Thursday, too.
How do you rate your husband's chances now, Mrs. Bannister?
Any decisions yet, Mr. Bannister?
What's at stake, Mr. Bannister?
I'll be making a speech later in the day, but until then, I myself don't have anything to say. Thank you.
Mr. Bannister, what do you have to...
It's turning into one of those days.
Do something for me. Find her, bring her home.
Isn't she more of a liability than an asset? The mood she's in.
Look.
Look, whatever.
Mrs. Hopper, isn't it? Can I have a word? Just a couple of things need verifying. 2 minutes, if that.
I'm off on an errand.
Why, Mrs. Bannister?
You're more than welcome to come along.
Hello?
What?
The old levels. Yeah? Who would have known?
You and Bannister, you're pretty tight, yeah? Well, you were engaged, weren't you? Don't mean way back.
You're nothing if not thorough.
What's that? A euphemism for no comment?
Off the record is sort of what I had in mind. No wires, no hidden cameras.
What you see is what you get.
We met while we were still in training. We were barely out of our teens. First love, the usual heady stuff. We came down to earth, we moved on.
You all lived happily ever after. And all the years since, working so closely with him. Now living under the same roof. It can't be easy.
Losing their daughter that way, you know about that. It was An awful time for them, the worst time. My sister, Nina... We are still off the record. What was it the doctors called it? Manic depression. They said the trauma triggered it, except that she doesn't get to the manic bits. No highs, just these dreadful lows, these dreadful black holes of depression.
Is she not getting any treatment?
Therapy. In and out for years. Makes Woody Allen positively fast track. Sorry, it's rather as acute as answer to your question. My engagement with Marius, it's a drop in the ocean compared to what they've been through. And if you're not there for your sister, for your family, what kind of person are you? Marius cares so passionately about things, about people, injustice. He wants so much to make a difference. Standing for Parliament for years, I've told him to go for it, not to let it slip away from him.
Collins? Yeah, I'm on my way. Sorry, I have to get back to the house. No, it's okay, I'll grab a cab.
No,
You still have your errands to run.
It wasn't important.
In the same newspaper covering the allegation against me is another story concerning the mental and physical abuse of old people in residential care homes. This is what that story merited. Half a dozen lines. Squeezed between today's recipe and Elizabeth Hurley's new dress. What does that say about us? About our humanity? What does it say about our press? Old people? Who cares? Out of sight, out of mind. Rather than pursue a story of national concern and shame, you prefer to pursue this inaccurate and unfounded allegation against me, which amounts to little more than a cynical smear campaign. So I ask you, who here is guilty of professional misconduct?
Is it true that you and your wife's sister were once engaged to be married, Mr. Bannister?
We were engaged some 20 years ago, yes.
Is it a fact that you and your wife actually eloped together?
Daisy, darling. Daisy, Daisy, Daisy.
Why did you do it, Candice? The reporter, why did you tell him? Any other frills, eh? You show him these? You surely didn't leave these out. Your last-ditch, death-defying trick to keep me.
Let's take it down here, shall I? Right. Down this end. Yeah.
He already knew we'd been engaged. All I did was confirm it.
You have to move out, Candice.
When we were children, you know what Nina would do. Whenever anyone came to the house, she would always run out first. Whatever she was doing, she would drop it so as to get there before anyone else. That way, no one had eyes for anyone but her. Why am I telling you of all people? She blinded you the second you saw her.
Get over it, Candice. Get a life. I stopped screwing with mine.
Maybe I made a mistake. The Garrett woman. Maybe you were alone with her after all. Sex without the complication of emotion has tempted men before, hasn't it? You know that better than anyone.
My God, you do it too.
How's this for a soundbite? Lord Bannister's son keeps it in the family. Catchy, don't you think? You'd see me then, wouldn't you? You'd see me then. You'd see me then!
What were you and Marius doing out by the pool?
We had things to talk about.
We have to stop it now, Candice. You and Marius, I want you to end it. I was crazy to let you talk me into it. I wasn't thinking straight, and if we're to have any chance, he and I, if our marriage is to have any kind of chance...
Christ, what is he, some library book you've loaned out? His past is overdue date. He's free to make his own choices. That's what we were talking about by the pool, actually. Well, in the gazebo, to be exact. Yes, at first I thought a little insensitive, too. And I said... Oh, yes, of course, that's it. It all fits now. Why didn't I see it before?
See what? What are you talking about?
I can't say, truly, I can't. I swore to him I would say nothing yet. I promised him.
This is one of your games, isn't it? One of your tricks. I can't do this anymore.
Oh, sorry. Was this not the conversation you were after? What did you have in mind? A sisterly chit-chat, you'd snap your fingers and I'd step aside again. He was talking about Daisy out there. He said he's tired of living in the memory of it all. He wants to go forward, get on with his life. He's got it all worked out. He wants me to move out for a while. Let the dust settle on my divorce, wrap up his candidature in the by-election. Then you and he will discreetly separate.
It's not true. Any of it. I know it, Candice, because a few moments ago he tried to make love to me.
Maybe it was just his way of saying goodbye. He wants me to have his child. That's what we were doing in the gazebo. He wants me to have his baby, darling.
To immediately instigate a public inquiry into these tragic incidents that Mr. Bannister has raised. If it's appropriate, we should...
Did I miss something?
Just a minor media coup, courtesy of Marius.
Minor. Alistair Campbell, move over.
Team effort, guys.
That's fantastic, isn't it?
It's unbelievable. We've really got to use this. We're never going to get...
Phase one looks like it's squared away. You see, that's the difference between us, Nina. I want to share in his success. I want to be a part of it every inch of the way. You won't be alone. You'll still have Martin. It shouldn't be totally beyond us to be mature and civilized over this. Why don't we go somewhere tomorrow for lunch? Just us. Work out how we're going to do it.
Here we are.
Cheers.
Nina and I are playing truant tomorrow, taking ourselves off for a boozy lunch. Lots of girly gossip. Dishing the dirt on you men.
We'll be corralled by the press most of the day. I'll need you here, my love.
Oh, come on. Her entire life is about to be turned upside down, isn't it? Let's have a moment of pampering. My treat. Call it my way of paying you both back.
Thanks for the coffee. The boys really appreciate it.
Quite all right.
Mr. Collins. My father always said a thunderstorm was just God moving his furniture about.
shipping out, more like. I'm afraid I was rather indiscreet before. About my sister, her depressions, and she's very fragile at the moment. If what I told you about her got out, it could tip her right over the edge.
Well, someone's going to dig it up, sooner or later, with the profile he's got. Mind you, if such a story was to be handled compassionately, sensitively, then people might not be so quick to jump to the wrong conclusions. I'll wait for your call.
Mr. Collins, I'll call next week. Thank you. When do you hear about the vote?
Calling later tonight. His lunch with Candice tomorrow. Bit out of the blue, isn't it?
She says we need to talk. God knows what about.
No one in this house who doesn't creep about spying on people.
The seascape.
Memory deficit. You should count your blessings, Edgar. I've asked her out for a lunch tomorrow. A little sisterly get-together. When they ask, I'll say we're supposed to cheer her up. Because of the awful day she had today. Being another Thursday the 12th. All that. Make sure it's mixed up, don't we? It's quite painless. As to the point. Instantaneous. Right. Sorted. What's going on, Edgar? Hello? Knock, knock. Anyone at home? Hmm? You saw nothing, all right? You saw nothing, you know nothing. Back upstairs.
Upstairs, back you go. Go on. The number of the Samaritans, please. Yes, my name is Nina. Nina Bannister. I need to talk to someone. I need help. Please.
Everyone feels low sometimes.
Yes, I know. It's just I get so scared. My husband, he sees the future so clearly. He's got this whole new career now, and yet all I feel is despair. I'm afraid of what I might do to myself. Do you approve?
How could I not? Candice, tonight, your room after the dinner. Wait for me.
Why? You want to be sure I'm packed?
Like you said, it's one of those days. A little get to me. I am but a mere man, after all. You were the first. The one against all others were measured. You know that.
We look the part, don't we? You see it now, don't
you.